So what's with this narcissist thing?
That's unexpected. I must say, you fight well.
Now put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Good evening, this is Lucky Links. This is not a fun topic, and this is not a pleasant topic, but there's something that I've been noticing for a very long time that I think I want to address. There seems to be a big trend out there of people talking about narcissism and people who are narcissists and being the victim of a narcissist. And the funny thing is that it seems to revolve around this whole. There seems to be a great deal of it in this whole spiritual arena, New Age, tarot, Buddhism, and this discussion of the narcissist and how the narcissist takes advantage of you. And the irony is the very spiritual path that the person is trying to adhere to or impose on others is actually creating the conditions for this narcissistic victim situation. And I'm going to explain that. When I was teaching, I was a professor in college. When I was in graduate school, I was very much, very well liked in the department. I had a lot of teachers who I was writing all the time. I was publishing stuff in national magazines. And I was always the first to, do readings, public readings and things like that. I was tutoring, I was teaching, and I had a lot of teachers who were love bombing me. They would tell me how talented I was. They were telling me how amazing I was, how I was going to be, the most successful writer, how great a teacher I was. They would just constantly love bomb me, and I just loved it. It just fed my ego. I'm a great writer. And then somewhere along the way, 8 years into it, I realized that they were love bombing me and complimenting me, and I couldn't even afford to buy groceries with the salary that I was making as a teacher. So they were keeping me stuck. They were keeping me in a place where they could control me. They were manipulating me into having this by telling me how great I was constantly. There was no advancement. There was no getting a tenure position. There was no, and this was happening at all the different colleges. Now, one college I was at, he was very blunt. I very much liked this individual. He was the department chair, and I told him, I wanted to advance, and he's like, "It's not going to happen. What else do you know how to do?" And I thought, wow, how honest he was. And then I realized that the whole college game was similar to a cult, in that they would love bomb you, and if you guys know Lifton's cult reform, you can actually see how academia kind of fits into that. And I realized that I was being love bombed in a couple of the colleges that I was working at, especially the art college I was working at, and it was keeping me, and I was just like, I was eating it up. And I realized that it was my fault, because I was being superficial enough to appreciate they were telling me what I wanted to hear, and yet their actions and their words didn't line up. So I'm like starving as a college professor, and they're telling me how great I was, but they weren't giving me the position that lined up with what they were saying I was. All right. Now, this happens with psychics all the time, and I see this constantly. People who skyrocket in popularity by love bombing people. So there are psychics out there that will tell you everything that you want to hear. They will tell you that you are the reincarnation, you are an angel on earth, you are an ascended being, the planet is ascending and everything is great, and the reason that you feel sick, the reason that you feel down, the reason that you feel sad is all because you're ascending, because you're such a powerful being. You're so full of love and compassion. You are so amazing. Your frequency is just off with everything that's rising right now. They love bomb you. You get a psychic who comes along and says, look, Your actions suck. If you change your actions, you'll have a better outcome. Look, what you're doing is related to what you're getting. Look, this attitude that you got where you think you own people, you can collect people, where you think that you deserve it all, where you're entitled, that's not getting you anywhere. They don't like that. They don't like to hear that. They want to hear, I am where. Now, let me tell you something what happened when I... So I was in this habit of liking to hear people tell me great things. And the first thing that my master told me was, I said, well, you know, how long do I have to keep studying before I can start to share things, before I can start to teach something? And he said, you didn't know anything. And it hit me so deeply. I said, how can you say I don't know anything? I was a college professor. I didn't know anything. I really didn't. And he started to teach me, and I said, you know what? I can be full of myself, and I can be angry, or I can listen. Because I know that he's showing me how to do stuff that I really want to do. And he was showing me how to do stuff. He said, you didn't know anything. It was an enormous blow to my ego. But I realized something. Up until that point, I'd be searching for something or looking for something. If something got too hard, I would abandon it because I didn't know how to get past the hard part. When I met him, I wanted him to tell me that I was all powerful and I was already there. And he didn't. That's how I knew he was the real thing. He didn't blow smoke. I can't tell you how many times I've met a psychic who tried, they're like, let's do readings. And these days, I usually don't. I've had so many psychics try to blow smoke. Oh, they're like, no, that's not what's going on. You're trying to love bomb me so I like you, so I tell everyone you're a great psychic. And I see it all over the place. There are these spiritual masters and gurus out there. They love bomb you. They tell you you're already ascended. You're already there. Look at your life. Look at how it's working. Look at what you got going on. If they're telling you you're up here and you're all ascended and you can't freaking figure out how to pay, how to pay the water bill, there's something not going on there. If they're telling you you're a powerful healer and you got all these things wrong with your body and you're sick, they're lying to you. Because if you really are all these things, the outward, they say that as above, so below. Well, there's a reason for that. And what's going on in your mind is going to be reflected in the world around you. And I understand that the system is broken out there and it's stacked against people. That is true. And if you find yourself struggling and going against things because the system's broken, all right, at least you're recognizing it. The system's broken, something needs to be changed. But if you're looking at a system that's broken and you're struggling against it and you're beating your head against the wall and you keep dropping it and you can't figure out how to get bigger, you stop and tell yourself, well, it's because I'm ascended and I'm all powerful. Someone lied to you. They love bombed you because they're the narcissist who wants you to love them. And if you get involved in some kind of spiritual path where they love bomb you and they tell you you are all love, you are all light, you are all this, you are likely to be in a position where the first guy who comes along or gal who comes along who tells you everything you want to hear, you're going to fall right for it. Then you're going to be doing YouTube videos 2 years later talking about how the narcissist did this to you and the narcissist, guess what? You wanted it. You stepped right into it. Because you wanted someone to tell you you were already there rather than ask yourself, hey, where am I? Where am I really? Where am I realistically? Where do I want to go? And how do I get there? We get in the habit of wanting to hear really nice things. Just like me. When I was in that college, I wanted them to tell me I was the best. And they told me I was the best. And they weren't treating me like I was the best. And I realized they wanted me to adore them. They wanted me to put their program, their college on a pedestal. They wanted me to be a true believer. They wanted me to be their follower. And I did it. I stepped right into it. And then when I looked at it and I said, wait a minute. If they really believe this about me, they would be giving me this kind of position, they would be treating me like this, they'd be paying me this kind of salary. They're lying to me. They're BSing me. They want me to adore them. And I realized it was sort of a cult kind of atmosphere. You see the Buddhists, and a lot of the Buddhists love bombing people. A lot of these made up channeling religions love bombing people. When they love bomb you, they tell you you're all there already. Be very, very careful, because it's real easy for that to go right into your ego. Make you, I'm there already. I'm already there. What they want you to do is they want you to love them. They want you to feed them. They want you to put them on a pedestal. I can't tell you how many times I watched a psychic tell someone everything they wanted to hear. You are an all-powerful goddess here to heal everyone. Thank you. I know that. That's exactly what I am. You're the most amazing psychic I've ever seen. Just like the teacher who tells that student over and over and over again how great they are, because they want to feed on that kid's power. They want to own that kid's power. I talked about sympathy in another video. Well, another way that people can get to you and steal your power is praise. When they praise you, what they're really saying is, I'm up here, and I'm the one who can judge, and you're here, and I'm going to say, from up here, I'm going to raise you up. There are situations where a person really needs to hear a kind word. They really need to hear attaboy or attagirl. They really need to hear, you're just not seeing what you got. You got all this talent, you got all this ability, you got all this power, and you're not accepting it. There are other times when people need to be kicked in the butt, and they need to be told, you don't know anything. You're not where you need to be. You're being a fool. You're listening to this person over here. Or, hey, you're not well. That doesn't mean you're all powerful. It means something's not right with your mind and body, and it needs to be fixed. This whole narcissist thing just cracks me up. These people run around wanting to be told they're completely enlightened. They are completely unified and healing and all of this wonderful stuff. Then they meet some dude or some girl who comes along and feeds them all the same garbage. They step into it. Next thing you know, the person's got them. Because you know why? They're training themselves. They are training themselves to react to praise and to bind themselves to someone who praises them. They break up. They go out with someone else. Someone else starts praising them again. Oh my God, you're the right one. And then they're crying to everyone on social media. They took advantage of me. Learn discernment. Learn to look in your own heart and say, am I really there? And if you get someone who's a teacher or a master, make sure that they're someone who's actually gone the road that you want to go. And they're not love bombing you. Because if they're love bombing you and you can do no wrong, there's something wrong there. I'm Lucky Links, as always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. Remember, Rose in the Golden Girls was a love bomber, but when it came down to it, they went to Sophia for some hard wisdom. If you want to take a class in how to read the playing cards, if you want to take a class in how to read the tarot, if you'd like to take a class in how to read the crystal ball, I got a couple of new crystal balls here. If you'd like to take a class in Lenormand, if you'd like to take a class in Lenormand Basic or Lenormand Grand Tableau, I got one of each. If you want to take one on how to read the Mexican Loteria, and if you'd like to read the crystal ball, this is my new fluorite crystal ball. I got a class for you for each one of these. You will not be love bombed. You will, however, be encouraged to develop your own gifts, your own talents, and become a damn good reader. And they're all in a secret Facebook group. And if you want to know the details, contact me 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. Hey, if you want a reading, you can contact me same way. I always try to leave people on a positive note, I always try to leave people with a direction in which to go. I always try to leave people knowing that they have some control over their future. Sometimes things look pretty dark, and I don't like to tell people, yeah, it's all great. Because if they can move here, a little bit here, or a little bit there, or a little bit there to get out of a tricky situation, their lives could be really amazing. If they really learn some skills to really sort of set their life on a strong path, well, there's no end to what they can do. If you tell a person that they're already there, there's nowhere for them to go, that they're already enlightened and this is their last life and they're just a goddess here on earth, well, that's great. What's the point? Hey, for all of you who've donated, thank you. I appreciate you. If you like these videos and you'd like to donate to help keep them coming, then, well, please. I will put my PayPal and my Venmo in the thing below. Remember, healthy skepticism is pretty good. A bit of discernment's really good. And don't overestimate where you got. I usually found out when it was dealing on this Tibetan bond path that I wasn't as far as I'd hoped I was or thought I was. But in realizing that, I have figured out each time what I had to do to get on the path to where I wanted to be. And that made me stronger, that made me more confident, and made me more able to say, hey, look, you know what? I have the tools, I have the skills to be able to advance. You guys have a great weekend.